In many ways, this is the first truly global scandal, from the White House in Silicon Valley to Oslo and Paris. But it's also a deeply British scandal, reaching right to the top of the British establishment.
We support this motion today. Frankly, it is the least we owe the victims of the horrific abuse that was perpetrated by Jeffrey Epstein and others. The abuse that was enabled, aided, and abetted by a very extensive group of arrogant, entitled, and often very wealthy individuals in this country and elsewhere.
The walls are closing in on disgraced royal Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. In a stunning escalation, British lawmakers have now forced the government to release confidential files linked to his time as trade envoy, a move that comes just days after his arrest. At the heart of it all, explosive allegations that he shared sensitive government information with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The scandal deepens from Parliament to palace, and the fallout could reshape how the royal family is held accountable forever. In a rare and dramatic move, UK lawmakers approved a motion demanding the publication of secret government documents tied to Andrew's official role. The debate inside Parliament was nothing short of scathing. Politicians across party lines accused the former prince of putting personal relationships above national duty, specifically his controversial ties to Epstein. UK Trade Minister Chris Bryant didn't hold back, calling the situation the least we owe the victims of horrific abuse. And this wasn't symbolic. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government backed the motion, effectively guaranteeing that these long-hidden files will now come into the public domain. But what exactly is inside them remains the biggest question.
Mr. Speaker, let me be clear from the outset. We support this motion today. Frankly, it is the least we owe the victims of the horrific abuse that was perpetrated by Jeffrey Epstein and others. The abuse that was enabled, aided, and abetted by a very extensive group of arrogant, entitled, and often very wealthy individuals in this country and elsewhere. It's not just the people who participated in the abuse, it's the many, many more who turned a blind eye out of greed, familiarity, or deference. To my mind, they too were complicit, just as complicit, and I welcome the reckoning that is coming to them now. I doubt there is anyone in this House who is not shocked and appalled by the recent allegations. Colleagues and many civil servants have told me their own stories of their interactions with Mr. Mountbatten-Windsor, and they all betray the same pattern. A man on a constant self-aggrandizing and self-enriching hustle. A rude, arrogant and entitled man who could not distinguish between the public interest, which he said he served, and his own private interest.
This political firestorm comes just days after Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor was arrested. Authorities are investigating allegations that, during his time as UK trade envoy, he shared confidential government reports with Epstein. The charge? Misconduct in public office, a serious criminal offense. The ex-prince was later released on bail, but the damage was already done. For the first time, the scandal surrounding Andrew isn't just about associations. It's about alleged actions tied directly to his official government role. And that has triggered a constitutional-level crisis. Even his brother, King Charles, has publicly distanced himself, stating the law must take its course, a clear signal that the monarchy may not intervene this time. The documents in question date back to Andrew's appointment as trade envoy in the early 2000s, a role that gave him access to sensitive diplomatic and commercial information. Lawmakers believe these files could reveal the extent of Andrew's communications with Epstein. They also expect the files to check if classified or sensitive material was shared, and if government officials ignored early warning signs. The motion forcing their release was triggered using a rarely used parliamentary mechanism, one designed specifically to compel transparency from the government. Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey described Andrew's actions as a stain on UK. Davey added that the stain must be cleaned away with the disinfectant of transparency.
Then the former Duke of York and Special Trade Envoy, and the former Business Secretary, First Secretary of State, and Ambassador to the United States. Their association with Epstein and their actions on his behalf, while trusted with the privilege of public office, are a stain on our country. Today we must begin to clean away that stain with the disinfectant of transparency.
This isn't just a domestic issue, it's a global one. The former Duke of York, Andrew, represented Britain on the world stage for a decade. But as previously reported, diplomats and insiders had long raised concerns about his behavior. Allegations of inappropriate conduct at official events, complaints from ambassadors about his attitude, and warnings about his dubious circle of contacts have often come to light. Despite these red flags, he remained in the role for years, shielded, critics say, by his royal status. Now, those past concerns are being re-examined under a far more serious lens. The scandal doesn't stop with Andrew. The debate has also dragged in Peter Mandelson, the influential figure who originally recommended then Prince Andrew for the envoy role. Mandelson himself is now under scrutiny, having reportedly been questioned and bailed in connection with related matters. The government is already preparing to release another set of documents tied to his recent diplomatic appointment. Together, these revelations could expose a much wider network of decisions and failures at the highest levels of power. For Andrew, this may be the most serious chapter yet in a scandal that has spanned decades. Stripped of titles, removed from royal duties, now arrested, investigated, and at the center of a parliamentary reckoning. With confidential files set to be released and police investigations ongoing, the coming weeks could bring even more explosive revelations. And for the royal family, the stakes couldn't be higher, because this is no longer just about one man.